Good day, everyone. Good day, Coach Jude, and good day to our viewers. I am Carl Santinales from Study Hub number 1. We are going to tackle about the principles of the learning-centered psychological. In this discussion, we are going to identify the 14 learner-centered psychological principles and the factors of it for us to be able to learn how to apply it in ourselves. So without further ado, let's get started. According to American Psychological Association, there are 14 principles of learning-centered psychological. And that 14 principles are divided into 4 factors, which is 1. The cognitive and the metacognitive, 2. The motivational and affective, 3. Developmental and social, and lastly 4. The individual difference. Now, let's proceed to the 14 principles of LCP, or also known as learning-centered psychological, starting from the factor of cognitive and the metacognitive. We have 1. The nature of learning process, 2. Goal of the learning process, 3. The construction knowledge, 4. The strategic thinking, 5. Thinking about thinking, and lastly 6. The context of learning. These concepts really help us when it comes to cognitive and metacognitive. One of the study hub member later will going to explain what are the definitions of this. Let's move forward to motivational and affected factor. First is the motivational and emotional influence on learning. Second is intrinsic motivation to learn. And third is the effects of motion efforts. These concepts is under the factor of the motivational and affective factor. Moving forward on the developmental and social factor, we have the developmental influence on learning, and second is the social influence on learning. There are two concepts under the factor of the developmental and social factor. From the word itself, from the developmental and social, it is under the socializations or the developmental of one individual. And lastly, the individual difference factor.
Cognitive and metacognitive factors. So, cognitive factors refer to the mental processes that the learners undergo as they process information. The way learners think about their thinking as they engage in mental tasks is the concern of the metacognitive factors. One of that is the nature of learning process. The learning of complex subject matter is most effective when it is an intentional process of constructing meaning from information and experience. Teachers play a significant role in guiding their learners to become active, goal-directed, and self-regulating, and to assume personal responsibility for their learning. The learning activities and opportunities provided by the teacher are very important situations where learners can integrate knowledge and concepts to their experiences. Whenever teachers plan their lessons and topics, they always need to consider how they can bring reality in the classroom. Learners need to have a clear and concrete understanding of knowledge and concepts presented so that they would also know in what particular situations they have to apply them. Learning through experience is the most effective way of teaching. An intentional learning environment is one that fosters activity and feedback and creates a culture that promotes metacognition. That is one in which the learner becomes aware of his or her learning process and can use tools to enhance this learning process, according to Berater and Scardamillian 1989. Second is goals of the learning process. The successful learner over time and with support and instructional guidance can create meaningful, coherent representations of knowledge. Learners need to be goal-directed. Teachers have to guide learners in terms of determining their personal goals. They need to set their goals not dictated by others to ensure their willingness to achieve them. Meaningful learning takes place when what is presented to learners is very much related to their needs and interests. When learners have good understanding of the concept discussed in school, they can reach long-term goals most likely. Indeed, it is challenging to motivate learners to succeed. Third is construction of knowledge. The successful learner can link new information with existing knowledge in meaningful ways. In planning a new lesson to be presented, teachers would usually find it more effective when they connect the learner's existing knowledge to new information. The integration of prior experiences to new concept to be learned is a way of making connections between what is new and what is already known. That new knowledge is created from old knowledge is the very heart of constructivism. Teachers should initiate more opportunities for learners to share ideas, experiences, observations, and readings as the need arises. Sharing prior knowledge can be done in creative strategies like concept mapping, group activities, and other collaborative techniques where learners are also able to learn from each other's experiences. Number four of that is strategic thinking. The successful learner can create and use a repertoire of thinking and reasoning strategies to achieve complex learning goals. Strategic thinking is a person's ability to use knowledge in different ways to solve problems, addresses concerns and issues, decrease difficulties in certain situations, and make sound decisions and judgments in varied conditions. Strategic thinkers do not easily give up in difficult situations. They are more challenged to find ways to solve a problem no matter how many times they already failed. They are not afraid to commit mistakes because they perceive them as meaningful learning experiences to continuously discover other ways of arriving at solutions. Teachers are supposed to give them as many opportunities to learn, experiment, solve, and explore new ideas and concepts. Thus, to motivate and encourage the learners to be more creative and innovative in their ideas, opinions, and responses are must for teacher. Fifth of that is thinking about thinking. Higher order strategies for selecting and monitoring mental operations facilitate creative and critical thinking. One of the most challenging roles of the teacher is to develop among their learners higher order teaching skills or HOTS. It means that their learners can do evaluation, synthesis, analysis, and interpretation of varied concepts, information, and knowledge. As previously mentioned, learners develop their thinking skills when they are provided with opportunities and learning experiences to process varied events and situations, specifically if given real problems. This context means that aside from mastering information, discovering, problem solving, creation, and evaluation should also be integrated into their learning experiences. Assessment tools in schools should be authentic. Students can make inferences, sound judgments, and relevant conclusions and use their learned knowledge to varied situations. HOTS are very much needed in this fast changing world. And the last of it, context of learning. Learning is influenced by environmental factors, including culture, technology, and instructional practices. Learning does not only take place inside the classroom. Much of what learners learn in the classroom with their teachers can only have meaning once they see them concretely in their everyday life. Examples given in the classroom should be a reflection of their actual life experiences. The digital tools and instructional practices must be carefully selected to facilitate a motivating, stimulating, and encouraging learning environment geared toward effective acquisition of knowledge, concepts, and skills among learners.
Hi everyone, my name is Lorian Hilary Carnada and my topic is all about motivational and effective factors. So what is motivational and effective factors? Well, motivational and effective factors plays a crucial roles in shaping human behavior and decision making. So motivational factors are the internal or the external elements that drive individuals to take a certain actions of or pursue a specific goals. So What is affective factors? Unaffective factors, the other hand, it's involve emotions and feelings that influence an individual's attitude and responses. So motivational factors, no, it include the intrinsic intrinsic motivations. This comes from within, driven by a personal satisfaction or interest. For example of that is someone is programming the for the joy of a problem solving. That is one of the examples. And the extrinsic motivations is include the external rewards drive these types of motivations. For example of that is working hard at the job for the promise of a bonus. So one of the example of that. So achievements and motivations that it desire to accomplish challenging tasks. A student striving for academic excellence. So it's illustrations of achievements. So achievements motivations. So affective factors, these are the includes of affective factors, emotional responses. Emotional responses is a reaction of a situation like feeling happy about a success or sad about a setback. So another one is that attitude personal. Attitude is a personal evaluation of people's objects or ideas. For instance, having a positive attitude is toward a healthy lifestyle. So another one is a mood influence. So mood influence is a temporary emotional states that can impact the decision making or a person's in a good mood, or maybe it may be more open to a new ideas. So number seven is a motivationals and emotional. So what is this? Motivational and emotional influence on learning the rich internal world of thoughts, beliefs, and goals. An expectation for a success or a failure can be enhanced or intervary with the learners. No? Is it a quality of thinking and information's process? So, number eight is the intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is to learn the tasks of optional, optimal, neglect, and difficulty relevant to a personal interest, and providing for for a personal choice and control. So number nine is effective of motivations on efforts. So effort is another major indicator of motivations to learn. The acquisitions of complex knowledge and skills demands the investment of considerable learning. Is an energy and strategy effort. So along with persistence, it's over time. And that's all my topic.
My topic is all about developmental and social factor. Developmental and influence on learning are most effective and differential development within and across physical, intellectual, emotional, and social domains is taken into account. Individuals learn when the material is appropriate to their developmental level and is presented in the enjoyable, interesting way. Social influence on learning can be enhanced when the learner has an opportunity to interact and to collaborate with others on instructional tasks. This component contributes to a dynamic interaction between a person and their surroundings. Parental attitudes, peer interactions, and learning experiences are examples of developmental influence. The social factors, on the other hand, are concerned with social statuses such as family backgrounds, wealth, income, and education. It was an impact on students by stimulating their mind to flourish.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ella May Claire Traje, and I will be discussing about learning and diversity and standards and assessment. So, what is learning diversity? Learning diversity refers to the infinite variety of life experiences and attributes a child brings to their formal learning at school. All students with diverse learning needs have a right to access a full and engaging education on the same basis as their peers. Catholic School seeks to empower learners by celebrating difference and providing educational opportunities aimed at eliminating discrimination and focus on growth and progress for all. So, expect your students to be different from each other. Everyone has their own uniqueness, so do not expect them to act the same. They have their own talent, they have their own strategy, they have their own weakness and strength, and you as an educator, it's your obligation to know it, to know what is the differences of everyone, so that you can offer what is needed in every student. So now let's proceed to standard and assessment. What is standard and assessment? It is all about letting your students know against which criteria you will judge their work and the standards attached to each of these criteria. It tells students what performance is required and allows you to gain a sense of how your students are doing overall, based on their achievement of the standard. As a future educator, what do you think is the importance of having a standard? When you have a standard, your student will do their thing to reach that. When they reach that, they are also stepping up. It means they are improving. As a future educator, our goal is not just to teach or to feed them knowledge. Our goal is to also make them improve and grow. By having a standard, you are expanding their knowledge. And what about its assessment? What is the purpose of it? This is how you are going to measure the knowledge of your students. How do you know if they improve if you don't test them? So, letting them undergo an assessment, you will know if they really learn or not, if you are really effective or not. So that's all. I hope you understand my discussion. Thank you very much for watching.